Previously on Historical Geocaching. My uncle and I are touring the USS Hornet aircraft carrier in Alameda, California. Most recently, our guide showed us the secondary control center. Now, it's on to other parts of the ship.
Called a 5-inch 38, and what that does, if you take 5 times 38, it gives you the length of the barrel, which is about 15 and a half feet. 5-inch guns were a secondary battery on heavy cruisers and battleships. Only they had 5-inch 41, this 5-inch 38, so they were longer barrels. It's primarily anti-aircraft. Okay. Took 11 guys to man. They had a range of 10.3 miles. They shoot as high as 37,000 feet. And what was the other one? I'm missing a fact here. So 11 guys. This guy here was called the aimer. When he cranked the barrel would go up and down. It was the elevation of the barrel. This guy was called the trainer. He was the azimuth. When he cranked, the mount would move left and right. Okay. This guy, one guy sat here who assisted the aimer. The guy sat here was the fuse setter. The sight setter was behind him. He would select the target, and these two guys would line up on him. The fuse setter would set the timing or the altitude as necessary. Now, the shell that fired this over here. You got guns on your ship like that?
Not like this.
You got the 40 millimeters?
Yeah, 50 cals.
Probably got those, what do you call them?
We got Seawiz.
Seawiz, that's it. Okay, I always invite you to figure out how much this weighs. You're welcome to pick it up. Go ahead, pick it up. You can't reach it.
Oh, that's heavy.
54 pounds. Okay. Powder jacket. 28 pounds of powder in here. You can imagine. This is the fuse up here. BT fuse. You ever heard of that term? That was the close proximity fuse. They came out with that early in the 40s, and they didn't use it. What happens with this? It was a time when they had tubes instead of transistors. You can imagine this. There was an ampule of battery acid in here. When they fired it, it would break. It had about a 5-second transmitter. And what happens is it sends a beam out. This thing is spinning 10,000 times a minute prior to the rifling of the cannon. That's how they determine the distance. It would count the turns. Okay? And then this pulse was going out, and if the pulse returned, if they got a return pulse within 20 to 30 feet, it would go off. So you didn't have to hit your target, you just had to get close to it. And that was a big deal. They didn't use that fuse until the Battle of the Bulge in Europe.
Cold War.
And, well, that was another war. And in the Pacific, it was late in the Pacific before they used it, because they were afraid the technology would fall into enemy hands. If they picked up a dud and figured out the fuse, that was a big deal. Okay. So, where did the shells come from? It came from here. Look over here. This is a lift. The magazine's on the 5th deck. That's 5 decks below the hangar deck. Okay. Sure. And it comes up on a hoist, and it would alternate between the shell and the powder. Okay. Then you had about 3 lumpers. Would lump these out. That's not official.
Now hear this. License plate will operate from 11 to 11:30. Please purchase tickets and use as
These would go pointy end down, and this would set the fuse. Okay, for whatever fuse they wanted. Okay, you had a projectile in here. He would put the shell in. The second would put the powder in. When they fired it, the shell would come out here on the deck. It was another person's job to pick it up and throw it overboard. Because in the heat of battle, you don't want to be stumbling over shells like that. Let's go back to 1940s, okay, when it was first launched. If you've seen pictures of old World War II fleet carriers like this, Essex class, even before the Essex class, there were 2 dual mounts forward, 2 dual mounts aft of the island. The deck, the flight deck, looked like a battleship. You've probably seen that, right? So there were 8 guns on the flight deck and 4 on the port side. Here, and if you look over there, there's a spot where a mount would have been. Same thing, so there would have been 2 forward and 2 aft mounts. Okay, so that was 12 guns during the 40s. And when the Hornet came out of mothballs, I believe it was like in 1950, they were going to bring it out for Korea. It never made it to Korea. But they took the guns off the flight deck and they had 4 port and 4 starboard guns. They also had, they also...
14, 15, 16, 15.
Where was I? They had 4 in the port and 4 in the starboard. Well, they had fire control. Fire control was radar lock-in. They were just starting to perfect it in World War II. In the 50s, it got a little better. They didn't need as many guns because they had radar now they could lock in. And once radar was up and running, they could control the mount and select the target. All these guys would do is load. The aimer there would sit there when all was loaded and ready to go. He would step on that pedal there. That was in control over to fire control, the radar locked in, and they would fire. Okay, they would fire from there. But those guys, their equipment was run by tubes. There weren't any transistors in those days. It was before transistors. Who remembers tubes? Tubes in your TV and your radio? Yeah. You remember if your TV or radio went out, you could take the tubes down to the drugstore, put them in the testers. You know, it was good. You know, this one was bad. The drugstore actually kept supply on hand, so you could buy the new tube and bring it home and put it in and get your TV, radio working again. Same thing with fire control here. Tubes would go out. 2 guys were in there. Their main job was to replace tubes. They would go down quite a bit. It wasn't that reliable, unlike today. Okay. So, any questions so far?
How quickly did they fire?
How quickly would they fire? That was my next thing. How many rounds do you suppose they could get off in a minute?
About 16.
16. So 16 rounds. That's doing about 1 every 4 seconds. That's pretty ambitious. Answer is 8 to 12. So 8 to 12 rounds a second. That's why they had, remember up in the Ford, the forecastle there, we saw that mount? They would go practice on how all the loading and stuff like that. So it was a well-coordinated team. Now these guys on the weapons like this, they would be butchers, bakers, radio repairmen. They would have another job on the ship. When they go to general quarters, their general quarters was anti-aircraft guns or any place like that. Okay, there's no questions. We'll go up on the flight deck.